What is everybody? Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Late night. Want to put out some documents again. Good evening. What is up? What is up? Here we go. As a look at got a couple of the district court. There we go. Honolulu, Hawaii. That's what's on his papers here. The arrest date 12/9/2024. This was the preliminary arraignment. The next action will be the preliminary hearing, which is December 23rd, 2024. We got an F2 here, forgery, tamper records or ID writing, M1, false identification to law enforcement officer, firearms not to be carried without license, and possession instrument of crime with intent. There it is. Some lovely documents here. Document number 1. How are we doing tonight? Nothing like a little late night. Thank you. Love you guys too. Woo. So, hey, Carsons, hockeys, moms. Again, good evening. What's up? Welcome. Where's all of our late night peeps? Oh, boy. So that's document number 1. Let's see. Document number 2. Let's go to this one. This looks good. This is the criminal docket here. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania verse. Let's go like this. Like this. Okay. His family gave a statement, so we'll show that. We'll show the interview with his friend, his roommate from in 2022. So let's see. So again, 12/23 at 9 a.m. That's his preliminary hearing. Bail was denied, you guys, in case you were wondering. He was advised of his rights. Public defender requested by the defendant. Public defender requested by the defendant, yes. I think he's got too much money, right? Application provided for appointment of public defender. Has the defendant been fingerprinted? No. Again. The arresting officer, Tyler S. Fry, right there. And again, bail action type, now denied. 12/9/2024 and arrested. And again, he is facing forgery. It's F2, an F3 with firearms not to be carried without a license, an M1 with tampering records or ID writing, possession instrument of crime with intent, M1, and false identification to law enforcement officer is an M3. So that's what he was arrested for. And now here is your very strong person of interest in the murder slain of CEO Brian Thompson. So he has not been fingerprinted yet, but fingerprint order issued. So maybe he has now. Again, bail was denied. Criminal complaint was filed. And he is set to have a preliminary hearing again on December 23rd, 2023. So those are his documents. So those are his docs. His family has released a statement. His family says, unfortunately, we cannot comment on news reports regarding Luigi. We only know what we have read in the media. Our family is shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest. We offer our prayers to the family of Brian Thompson, and we ask people to pray for all involved. We are devastated by the news. So that's what was said from the family. Not sure who, when they say family, who that is. Now, let's take a look at this interview that was done. News Nation had his roommate from 2022. Let's see. Okay. We're going to go with the full interview. Again, good evening, guys. How we doing? Okay. I'm going to share this. Thank you there, Tom. Shake it, Tom. Woohoo. How do you get popped at a McDonald's?
How do you know him? What school did you guys go to? How long did you know him?
Okay, so here's one of them.
Okay, and say your classmate's name.
Luigi Mangione.
How do you know him? What school did you guys go to? How long did you know him for?
So I knew him. I came into the school in 8th grade. I knew him 8th grade throughout high school. But I obviously knew him. We were a small class, small school, only about 400 kids in the high school, maybe like 85 to 100 in my class. So everybody knew everyone, really.
So what were your interactions? Like, how well did you know him? How many times would you speak to him? What do you remember?
I would say I spoke to him pretty frequently. He was like a leader in our class. So I'm not quite sure the exact clubs because it's a while back, but he was like a leader of clubs. He was in many clubs. He was also like a soccer player as well. He played baseball, I believe, in middle school, but I think he stopped after that. But everyone just knew him as like a quiet, reserved, nice kid. And he was obviously really intelligent, and everybody can tell that by his resume, of course. Yeah.
So he's a valedictorian
Yeah.
and had a speech at your...
Yeah, so he spoke at our graduation. Every year they have like somebody who's, exceeds academically and in and out of the classroom, and they have them speak in front of our high school. It's weird saying it, but yeah, he was that person that we chose to speak. So, yeah.
Okay, so you've been following this case pretty closely. When you saw the photo with him wearing his mask, what were your thoughts?
My first thoughts, well, I've had like a history just following like high profile cases. It was just interesting to me personally. When I saw the photo, like I thought it was like a 35-year-old guy. It was like he's a good looking dude, like sharp jawline kind of thing. But I had no hindrance that it was him. I mean, in the back of my mind, I was like, I feel like that face is familiar, but it was like subconsciously, not really like on the forefront.
So when did you find out, and what's your reaction to it?
So when I found out, I had like 25, 30 text messages from all different people from I'm from Baltimore, obviously, where we went to school together. And everybody that I know from Baltimore is reaching out to me like, did you know this guy? Did you go to school with him? He graduated in the same class as you. And of course, I, replied to all of them after a while and said, yeah. So my initial reactions were just shock, surprise. And I just would never expect someone who went to our school to, be involved in this. So it was just shock, really. I'm still shocked.
What year did you graduate?
2016.
Okay, from 2016 until now, have you spoken to him at all, or seen anything on Facebook? Are you friends with him on Facebook? Or?
I like followed him on Instagram. I think we like went back and forth here and there, you know, just like touching base with each other. I hadn't spoke to him in maybe like 4 years prior to this, though. Recently, like when we went right out of high school, you know, we would check up on each other here and there. But I do know that a lot of people that I went to high school with that were a little bit closer to him said they lost contact with him about like a year and a half ago. So,
is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, just praying for the, you know, family, of course, and you know, Gilman community, my high school, and yeah, just Stanford and Penn community as well. I pray for them. I hope this doesn't have a negative perception on them.
All right, so there's one interview. Yeah, exactly, Rachel Smith. He didn't say the words, I was shocked that it was him. He said, I was shocked that it was someone that came from our school. That was just very awkward. 50,000 reward for a multi-billionaire. Insane. I know, right? Maybe he was only like a millionaire. Who knows? Let's take a look at his former roommates interview. So that was a classmate that went to high school with him. We know how classmates in high school, like 2016, I guess 2024. But and we know how people were in high school, and I couldn't even imagine if somebody was to do an interview about anybody that somebody, you know, knew somebody in high school, which, you know, 8 years ago. So let's see what's up. It seems like he was held in high regard. Yeah, he's definitely a very, very smart kid. So, but we're peeling it back a little bit. Yes. So Betty, what's up? Hello from the effed up state of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. I love your smart mind. Thank you so much. Back at you. If you're here, you got a smart mind. Well, let's pull up this next lovely video, courtesy of News. I think News Nation did it. Brian Enton was involved. Ashley Banfield was involved, I believe. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to share it this way. We're going to do it from Chris Como.
In Hawaii, he knows him, had fallen out of contact recently. So let's bring them both in and understand better. Hey, all right, we're doing just audio with the other guy. RJ, thank you for being with me. Do you hear me, friend, on the telephone?
Do you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, thank you.
All right, so I got you, RJ, and I got the other guy. Just help people understand, guy on the phone. Why are you so worried?
Well, Chris, I think you bring up a great point in that what we need to be focused on here is the tragic events that took place with the CEO, Brian Thompson, and him losing his and his kids and his wife losing him. And I think, you know, looking back at, we can jump into Luigi's life in high school. I think one thing that you didn't quite get across is how brilliant-minded he is. He was the valedictorian of our high school, but he didn't put in much effort at all. He was he would sit there in class, not study after school, and ace the tests. So he was an extraordinary mind. He was a a very popular person in the class, had a lot of friends, and it's just shocking that he would commit such a heinous act.
No, I get it. And that's what makes it so compelling. The kid seemed to have everything going for him, and he wound up being the worst of us. Now, RJ, when you met him, he was already in his 20s. And where was he at that point in his life, and what made him stand out to you?
He applied to live at Surf Break Co-Living, which is a co-living space for remote workers in Hawaii. And like so many of our members, he wanted to be healthier, enjoy the tropics, live a new life in Hawaii. And I actually did the first interview with him. He talked about being excited to meeting new people, getting healthy again, because he mentioned he had a back. I don't know if it was an injury or pre-existing, and that he was doing everything he could to, not be in pain. When he moved in at Surf Break, I had founded the co-living space. We were actually roommates together. We weren't super close at first, but he was always friendly with everyone. But as time went on, you get closer with people. I took him to yoga classes. He actually helped found our book club. We read through a handful of interesting books together. He was just always a kind person, great listener, somebody that, you would enjoy having a cup of coffee with. And I just can't imagine that this is the same person.
How long ago did you fall out of touch?
We talked earlier this year after his surgery. And then I think our last text messages were this summer.
Did you notice any change?
So
Did you notice any change, or did you hear word of anything that people were uncomfortable with about what they saw or heard in him?
Not at all. Not at all. All the people that, we lived together with and that we were still friends with and that I've spoken to today have nothing but extremely positive things to say from him. Anar is just shocked and crushed as I am that, something like this, that he went about something like this. It really seems, from the person that I lived with, it seems unimaginable. It's not like the people who say, oh, I can't believe the person next door is a serial killer and they've got bodies buried. He was a genuinely generous, kind person. He'd walk people home at night. He was just thoughtful.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on.
All right, there's more than that. So this guy can't believe that he's like, I can't believe this is the same person. I can't believe this is the same person. So let's take another look here. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to The Transparency. Do me a favor, thumbs up the video. Help pass accurate information by having people come on over here with all the other smart people like yourselves. So, little late, live. Let's see. Let's see what Inside Edition has to say.
From a wealthy Maryland family. He was valedictorian at his graduation from a $40,000 a year private school with a carnation in his buttonhole.
It's been an incredible journey, and I simply can't imagine the last few years with any other group of guys. Thank you.
He is now a data engineer with a degree from the University of Pennsylvania.
Sorry about that. I have no idea what the fuck just happened there. There you go. I wanted this one. Jeez. Okay.
Is breaking news from Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And that breaking news tonight, moments ago, the man arrested in connection with the shooting death of a healthcare CEO in Midtown Manhattan now officially charged with murder. This story has been changing all day and night.
26-year-old Luigi Mangione is currently being held without bail in Pennsylvania.
We're learning more about his final moments of freedom in a McDonald's restaurant in Altoona.
As for a motive, minutes ago, we learned about a new and explosive clue found in his backpack.
We're covering all the angles of this breaking story tonight. We're going to begin with Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger, live in Altoona, Pennsylvania, with all the latest information. Josh.
And Bill and Sandra, we're here outside that McDonald's where Luigi Mangione's flight for freedom ended at breakfast time today. But as you say, we now know a lot more about his potential motive in this case. 3 sloppily written, handwritten pages in his backpack that law enforcement found here today. They referred specifically to United Healthcare and spoke about his disdain for the healthcare industry, including these specific quotes, quoting now, "These parasites had it coming." And then he continued, quote, "I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but," he said, "it had to be done." He is now done. After 5 days of freedom, Luigi Mangione is now in custody here in Pennsylvania. Masked no more, Luigi Mangione spent a few seconds out in the open tonight before Altoona police drove him to court. A nationwide manhunt finally over, thanks to an eagle-eyed diner at a McDonald's and a rookie cop who answered a call and confronted a nervous-looking young man wearing a surgical mask.
As soon as we pulled that down, or we asked him to pull it down, me and my partner and I recognized him immediately.
The 26-year-old Mangione was eating at this McDonald's nearly 300 miles from New York, a bus ticket in his pocket, when a fellow customer recognized him from pictures released by the NYPD. An employee called 911, and Officer Tyler Fry, 6 months on the job, made the arrest of a career.
He had asked the suspect if he had been in New York City recently, and that really invoked a physical reaction from the suspect. He became visibly nervous, kind of shaking at that question.
It feels good to get a guy like that off the street, especially starting my career this way. It feels great.
Police say Mangione was wearing clothing and a mask consistent with the Midtown killing suspects and carried a passport and multiple fake IDs, including the very one the killer used to check into this youth hostel on Manhattan's Upper West Side. When they searched Mangione, they found a ghost gun, possibly made with a 3D printer, complete with a silencer, and 3 handwritten pages expressing anger at the insurance industry.
So this is interesting, guys. I'm going to pause it here. So basically these police officers recognize this guy, just like Blaker said Brian Kober has bushy eyebrows when he saw his picture on his driver's license. He's like, oh man, that guy does have, bushy brows. These police officers, these dudes, just like Blaker and other law enforcement personnel in Idaho, these guys go up to this guy who just happens to be literally in the same, like he has a black jacket on that's over a green jacket that has the black mask around his neck, the surgical mask around his face, but yet we have yet to see any picture or where that even is. And yeah, they just walk right up to him and ask him to take down his mask. And if he's been in New York City lately. But as soon as he took down his mask, we recognized him. Well, I want to know how they recognized him because there's been no pictures. They're saying that one picture without the mask when he's smiling, that was the one. Oh, them bushy brows. I'm telling you guys, it's the decade of the brows.
A convoy of New York cops hit the road, lights and sirens, to confirm Mangione is the man they say stalked United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside the Midtown Manhattan Hilton Wednesday morning, leading to this massive search that involved hundreds, perhaps 1,000 New York police officers.
Some of these detectives are standing behind me haven't been home since Tuesday when this incident happened. They've been working this case tirelessly around the clock.
The class of 2016 has been coming up with new ideas and challenging the world around it.
Mangione grew up in Maryland, where he was the valedictorian of his prep school class and has a bachelor's and master's in engineering from the University of Pennsylvania. It's not clear how he developed such animus toward the healthcare industry, or how or why he targeted Thompson, the father of two boys, not much younger than his accused killer.
In some dark corners, this killer is being hailed as a hero. Hear me on this. He is no hero. The real hero in this story is the person who called 911 at McDonald's this morning.
The New York cops believe Mangione skipped town just around 45 minutes after the shooting Wednesday morning from the Uptown GWB bus station. We now learned today from the governor of Pennsylvania that he has been over the last couple of days all across the Keystone State, from Philadelphia and the east to Pittsburgh and the west, and now this morning here to Altoona. But he has an extradition hearing scheduled as early as Wednesday. He could be back in New York by the end of the week to face a charge of first-degree murder. We're live in Altoona, Pennsylvania tonight. Josh Einiger, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Quite the tale. Josh, thank you very much. And tonight.
Okay. Well, yeah, I still want to know how he knew what hotel he was at. Where's that in the manifesto? Where is that? Let's see. You guys saw the picture, right? Where he has literally two jackets on, the blue shirt that he's seen being pulled out of the cop car on. So where did his two jackets go in between him getting arrested? So he has two jackets on, a blue shirt, and then all of a sudden, when we see him getting out of the cop car, those two jackets are nowhere to be found. And the black mask that was around his neck is nowhere to be found. So I'm just curious, wondering where those items were.
In valedictorian, who police say is the suspected CEO assassin.
Luigi Nicholas Mangione.
Luigi Mangione is from a wealthy Maryland family. He was valedictorian at his graduation from a $40,000 a year private school with a carnation in his buttonhole.
It's been an incredible journey, and I simply can't imagine the last few years with any other group of guys. Thank you.
He is now a data engineer with a degree from the University of Pennsylvania. This is a muscle-bound Mangione working at an office in Honolulu where he last lived. He is 26 years old and was arrested in a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, 100 miles east of Pittsburgh, and held at this local police headquarters.
He is believed to be our person of interest in the brazen targeted murder of Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare, last Wednesday in Midtown Manhattan.
A McDonald's employee recognized the grinning suspect from the surveillance camera images seen around the country. That employee then called 911. Police say he had a gun, a silencer, fake IDs, and what is described as a manifesto. That manifesto reportedly says of healthcare executives, those parasites had it coming, and I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done. This is one of the fake IDs found on Mangione. It's said to match the one used by the killer to check into a hostel in Upper Manhattan. He is said to be a big admirer of the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski, responsible for a 20-year mail bombing campaign. Police say when he was busted at the McDonald's, he was carrying a gun he made himself with a 3D printer. His family owns 2 country clubs in Maryland. And is this a clue to an alleged motive? It's an image on Mangione's social media showing an X-ray of 4 pins in a spinal injury. It's unclear whether Mangione is the patient. The breakthrough in the case came as police divers continued to search a lake in New York Central Park for items dumped by the assassin. A backpack believed to have been worn by the killer was found in the park Friday night. It contained clothing and, of all things, wads of Monopoly money. Former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer believes the assassin wanted to send a message.
Wow.
The Monopoly money symbolized United Healthcare being a monopoly, but it was bigger than that. It was him showing his grandioseness, in my opinion, saying, look, I can taunt the police and they're still not going to find me.
There's not much funny about murder, but Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update delivered a half dozen one-liners about the assassin.
And it really says something about America that a guy was murdered in cold blood, and the two main reactions were, yeah, well, healthcare stinks. And also, girl, that shooter hot.
Beyond the laughter is one family's grief. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was laid to rest today. Now it seems as if the 6-day search could be over, thanks to an eagle-eyed McDonald's employee.
A McDonald's employee did something we ask every American to do. If you see something, say something, but most importantly, do something.
So the McDonald's employee was actually not the person that saw him, though. They were just the person brave enough to go get the $60K. Are they even going to give this McDonald's? Are they going to split it? Are these two people going to split it? Like, hey, I'll give you 30 since she actually told me to, like, call. I mean, wild. I don't even know what to think about this. I still have so many questions. The number one question is, how did he know where Brian Thompson was staying? I thought he came from Atlanta on the Greyhound, a kid in Hawaii. When did he leave Hawaii to then come back to the 48 states? Yeah. The lookalike contest. I mean, it doesn't change the fact that United Healthcare is trying to, create a monopoly. That is true. But if this man 100%, you just don't go and shoot somebody. And if he did it, he did it. If he did it with other people, I think that they should be taken in too. So, I find it hard to believe that he would have the two jackets on that are seen in all these freaking videos, And then if he had a backpack with him, it is 100% means that there was a backpack somewhere else that he threw the one off his shoulder and then had one waiting for him to then have this other one. Or if you really think he was backpackless until at some point he bought one. I don't believe that, though. I think he had two different backpacks. Or you can think that none of this is true. I don't know. I'm eating some chips. It's all very interesting that two manhunts, one in Idaho, one New York, they end up both being solved by bushy brows. I mean, if that's not some serious shit, I want to know where this guy was November 12th and 13th of 2022. Because he legit meets he's 5'10", bushy brows. Both in PA too. I mean, kind of wild shit, right? Why did BT walk past the Hilton Hotel entrance? Well, I said that, and they're trying to say the door was closed. I don't know. I think more things are going to come out. I mean, you have to ask yourself, it doesn't seem like did at some point he want to get caught? I mean, how do you not ditch those two jackets? Muscular and thin, 5'10". I think he needs to definitely be questioned for November 12th and 13th, 2022. Curious if he was in Honolulu. Wasn't it the main entrance? No, it wasn't. It was the side, but I still think it was open. I'm not convinced that it was closed, but whatever. Wasn't the Trump shooter in PA also? Yes. Correct. And then I want to know, are they trying to say that the Greyhound pulled off and stopped at the McDonald's and all these people got off and ate McDonald's at 9? Or how did he arrive to this McDonald's? Of all the places to go. Remember, they said that he was in Philly at one point. He was in Pittsburgh at one point. And then he ended up in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So if you look at a map and you see where these places are, Philly and Pittsburgh aren't like right next to each other. So, so in other words, what are you trying to say? What I'm trying to say is everything I just said. I think I'm speaking. No speaker. They do that on Greyhound long hauls. Yeah. It's amazing. Why won't they release more information to the public? I think that you'll solve more crimes, because unfortunately the police, the only thing they did in this case, in my opinion, is release the hostile photograph. The rest the public did. Cheers to the public. All you crime fighters out there. If it wasn't for true crime enthusiasts, people putting stuff out there on the internet, because how many people watch the 5, 8, midnight, 11 o'clock news? Not too many people in 2024. Curious why the person that found that this guy was suspicious, I'm surprised that they either they're gonna ever want to be interviewed. Would you want to be interviewed? Would you be like, where's my 60,000? Where's my 60,000? I think it'd be a great gesture if Brian Thompson's family just gave that McDonald's employee an extra meal. The sleuth that tracked the e-bike broke this case. There you go. All right, let's take another look at another interview here. If you just joined us at the beginning of the live, I went out and put some documents that have not made their way on the internet. So, all right, let's bring this one in here. Good evening, everybody. Welcome.
Breaking news where police are questioning a person of interest in the murder of a United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson.
And good afternoon to you at 4 o'clock. I'm David Ushery.
I'm Natalie Pasquarello. We want to get right out to News 4's Mark Santia. He is live in Altoona, Pennsylvania. That's where a man is being interviewed by the NYPD right now. Mark.
Yeah, Natalie and David, Altoona is home to about 40,000 people. As you can imagine, this is causing quite a stir. You take a look behind me, media and residents.
Now, remember they said that he didn't make any statements. So when they went there to go interview him, did he just say, I would like a lawyer? I have nothing to say. They're saying at first he was cooperative. Do they mean like with Officer Fry who arrested him? Or because I got mixed signals on that presser there.
Here surrounding the police station moments ago, an NYPD caravan pulled up. Several NYPD detectives, including Deputy Commissioner Kaz Daughtry, arrived here at the Altoona police station. This is where the person of interest is being held, and this is where the investigation is entering another phase. A 5-day nationwide manhunt coming to an end 300 miles from New York City.
There you go. So see where Philly is? Okay. And then you got Pitt that's it's going to be over to the left, down by, what the hell? Kind of
Police in Altoona, Pennsylvania, arresting 26-year-old Luigi Mangione in connection with the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
The suspect was in a McDonald's and was recognized by an employee who then called local police.
The McDonald's employee recognizing Mangione from one of these photos sent out by the NYPD after Wednesday morning's attack in Midtown Manhattan. Altoona police questioning Mangione, finding a trove of evidence, including a fake New Jersey ID and a gun police described as a ghost gun.
Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person, as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder.
Police say they also found a mask and clothes matching what the shooter was wearing on Wednesday, and police found a 3-page handwritten note that speaks to a possible motive.
Preliminarily, like I said, he seems that he has some ill will toward corporate America.
Mangione is currently being held at the Altoona police station late this afternoon.
Now, remember in the presser, they said that there's timestamps that are missing. Like there's times that, that's unaccounted for where he's at. I personally don't think that he's on the Greyhound here. That's my gut. My gut says that I don't think he's on a Greyhound that went to this McDonald's at 9:15 in the morning. I could be wrong, but
NYPD officers and the FBI arriving to question him. Police crediting the public for the crucial tip that led to Mangione's arrest.
you see how many people just walked in there? Look at that.
The public for the crucial tip that led to Mangione's arrest.
We should never underestimate the power of the public to be our eyes and our ears in these investigations.
Back here live in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where there's a heavy NYPD police presence. 2 more detectives, Natalie and David, just walked into the police station there. Now, Mangione's being held here. At this point, he is not charged with the Midtown murder. He's currently being held here on gun charges. We're live in Altoona, Pennsylvania. I'm Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
Okay, so this was earlier today. Now, they finally, this evening, charged him with murder. So they're going to be extraditing him, as my thought, to New York. I'm wondering if they're going to keep him in Pennsylvania until the preliminary hearing, but I would guess no, and I would just guess that Pennsylvania would release him and let him go to New York. But we'll see.
Likely a long few hours there, Mark. Thank you for updating us from the scene of where this person of interest is being held. There are, of course, a lot of questions about the identity of the man who is going to be questioned by police.
I want to bring in Chief Investigative Reporter Jonathan Deans, picking up our team coverage from the newsroom. John.
Natalie, David, the man in custody on the weapons charge in Pennsylvania appears to have an Ivy League education with a master's degree. And investigators are looking at angry writings posted online about healthcare firms and past acts of violence to see if those postings are linked to that man and this murder investigation here. Investigators say the strong person of interest is Luigi Mangione, 26 years old, and he was allegedly carrying this ghost gun at the McDonald's along with a suppressor. They say it is similar to the kind of weapon used in the shooting of the United Healthcare CEO.
I don't believe the gun's going to match. What do you guys think about that? You guys think that he kept the gun on him? Think about that. Think about that.
But they say ballistics and other work still needs to be done. They also say Mangione was found carrying this fake New Jersey ID with the name Mark Rosario. Several officials say that is the same name and same ID used by the suspected killer who checked into this Upper West Side hostel in the days before the shooting. Investigators providing more detail about Mangione's background earlier.
He was born and raised in Maryland. We know he has ties to San Francisco, California, and his last known address was Honolulu, Hawaii. He has no prior arrest history in New York.
Pennsylvania authorities are holding Mangione on a gun charge for now, as NYPD investigators go to Altoona to question him. Officials say he was carrying a 3-page letter complaining about companies at the time of his arrest at that McDonald's.
Officers recovered a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivation and mindset.
Investigators are also looking into social media and whether the person of interest had complained about having past back problems that had needed medical attention. They were also looking at other past, quote, revolutionary type writings posted to social media to see if Mangione is behind those writings. A person with the same name appears to have been a high school valedictorian, and a spokesman at the University of Pennsylvania says Mangione graduated from there with a bachelor's and master's degree in engineering. Investigators tell us they're looking to see if Mangione arrived at the McDonald's in Altoona via bus from Philadelphia.
They don't know?
The NYPD said last week that they believe the suspected gunman left New York from the George Washington Bridge bus terminal via bus. The NYPD and FBI have been following hundreds of tips and leads of possible names from New York to Atlanta to Pennsylvania. But this tip from workers and customers at that McDonald's appears to be the big break.
He's going to be facing gun charges there. And at some point, we'll work out through extradition to bring him back to New York to face charges.
Okay, so again, how does he know where Brian Thompson is staying? How does he know what hotel he's going to be staying in so that he can be on the right side of the Hilton on that side and lying in wait for him to leave out of his hotel, which was across the street, up just slightly on the, had been to the left of him, but and be able to shoot him within 1 minute of Brian Thompson coming out of that hotel room, to be then right in front of the Hilton's doors. Like, you could have shot him, I don't know, crossing the street but 1 minute from leaving that hotel, that's the way that he'd be traveling. Brian Thompson got into town on Monday. I'm not sure if it was Monday morning. I'm not sure if it was Monday evening. But based off of the pressers that they've done in this case, Brian Thompson gets into town Monday, and he is murdered on Wednesday at 6:44 a.m. So that leaves, and then they said that the gunman and Thompson never crossed paths during the time that he was staying up until his murder. So, I mean, the mayor also said that they had the name of the guy, and clearly, I don't know what the fuck name the mayor had back yesterday or the day before, but it wasn't this. So I don't know what to think. I personally think that there would have to be multiple people involved.
Just here.
Investigators also looking at other online postings making reference to the past Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, and whether the suspect here posted any of those writings. Again, with a gun allegedly recovered in Altoona, the NYPD still continues to try to follow up leads in Central Park, where they're looking to see if the suspected gunman left any additional evidence behind as he fled that murder scene. Natalie?
Chief Investigative Reporter Jonathan Dienst with new information. John, you mentioned the city because right now, as you said, NYPD fanning out all across our city, looking for more clues into the investigation and into the death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
Let's get down to News 4's Jessica Cunnington picking up our coverage from City Hall. Jessica?
Yeah, guys, the NYPD brass and also the mayor, we heard from them here at City Hall today how this investigation is still very much pushing forward in our city. And they also spoke about how all of the work so far led to today's major development. NYPD divers back in the water in Central Park this morning looking for evidence related to the deadly attack. Mayor Adams, joined by NYPD Commissioner Tisch and Chief of Detectives Joe Kenny, reacting to the arrest in Pennsylvania.
We have a strong person of interest in the shooting that shook our city. Our officers have been working around the clock. Many of them did not go home.
Detectives still pouring through hundreds of hours of video across the city.
And you guys understand that this is not the name that the mayor said, we have a name, but we're not going to release it because we don't want him to know our next moves and stuff like that. You guys understand that that's not the same person that was arrested today. So what's the name that the mayor had? Who did they think it was? Where did that IgG send them? Because you know damn well they were using IgG if they had DNA.
City to try to piece together the suspect's every move while he was here 10 days before the shooting, starting November 24th. Investigators believe after the targeted shooting of CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown on December 4th, he hopped on a bike and went into Central Park, ditching his backpack and eventually the bike. The suspect, the night of the shooting, last seen here at the George Washington Bridge bus terminal in Washington Heights, where police believe he got onto a bus. It is still not clear which one and how he got to Altoona, Pennsylvania, but his face in this photo, unmasked, captured at the Upper West Side hostel he stayed at, spread nationwide. The mayor praising the NYPD's work and decisions to get the images out there.
Someone, a McDonald's employee, did something we ask every American to do. If you see something, say something, but most importantly, do something. It was crucial that we were able to remove him off the streets of America, and we were going to seek him out no matter where he was at the time.
So investigators still trying to piece together the puzzle of his time here in New York City, as again, officers and detectives still digging through Central Park and video as well. Live at City Hall, I'm Jessica Cunnington. Back to you.
So much to learn. All right, Jessica, thank you. As we have throughout, we want to bring in the former chief of department at the NYPD, Terry Monahan, to us. Terry, before we get specific, your initial thoughts when you heard what you did about what happened this afternoon.
Listen, when you see him grabbing 5 days later, still carrying the gun, still carrying the same ID that he utilized when he checked into the hostel that everyone knew he was at, kind of surprised me that he wasn't more meticulous, more careful, especially how careful.
There you go. At least he's like, exactly. He was doing all of these things so meticulously. Then he just thought he's going to keep the gun that he used. These jackets, these masks, like that black one.
He was leaving the city. You would figure he would have gotten rid of a lot of that information. I was very surprised to see he had it, but it makes the case so much stronger for the cops. Now that he has all that information, once the ballistics comes back, I mean, they got him pretty solid.
What do you think is the motivation behind that? A lot of people talking about why did he still have a gun on him? They're talking about that handwritten note.
Is this an opportunity where he wants to send whatever his message is out, be caught, let people know he's the one that did it, and try and give whatever his manifesto may be? We'll see. Time will tell.
Walk us through this aspect, Terry, in that there was a picture out and, everybody has theories. They're like, well, why aren't they calling him a suspect yet? And they're still not calling him a suspect yet. There are methodical things that have to happen. Walk us through a little bit.
There's a lot of things that have to go on.
Remember, this was before, so just now, about, I don't know, an hour ago, a little bit more, they said we're arresting him for murder. So this was earlier, though, around 4 p.m., something like that.
He has a lot of information that makes you believe he is the individual. But now you want to tie the ballistics together, that this is the gun. He's a gun that resembles it, but now ballistically it'll be tested. Will it match the shells that are on the scene? There's a bottle with DNA on it. Is his DNA going to be on that bottle? You want to put all this together so when you present the case to a grand jury and eventually to a trial, you have everything so that you can get not only an arrest, but an indictment and then a conviction.
Speak a little bit to a possible motive here. We heard Jonathan Dienst talk about the angry writings possibly on social media. There might have been word about some type of surgery, a back surgery he went through. We know he graduated, they said, from UPenn. That was confirmed, Ivy League school. Talk a little bit about possible motive, what you've learned.
He's a very intelligent individual. When I understood, a valedictorian at his high school, Ivy League school. So whatever his message is, I think his motivation will come out in the near future. That he's going to want to say it. I don't think he'll be quiet. We don't know. I don't think he's spoken to anyone yet. It'll be very interesting over the next couple of hours when detectives go to interview him, if he's willing to explain everything, tell the world why he did what he did. An event like this, a lot of times that individual has a message that he wants to spread out. He's caught. He's going to go to jail for the rest of his life. Is there a message that he's going to try and get out? We'll see as time goes on.
Took a few days, Terry, even after a photo was out there. Does that surprise you now that we are here at this moment where they believe they have found the person?
This is what we talk about. You put out that photo, there were hundreds of tips coming in, and you had to go through each and every single tip. They were down in Atlanta. They were all over the country responding to tips. all of a sudden Altoona, someone sees him. Not only is it just a tip that had to be not so much vetted, but once you grab them, there's a gun and there's that ID in the thing. It went from 0, to 100 in really just a matter of minutes.
All of us could use a little bit of luck and good timing as well, and everything that we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's either that or he wanted to get caught. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. But I know for a fact how I feel about you're going to have to do some explaining with the whole Brian Thompson thing and how you knew where he was staying, that he wouldn't be at the Hilton, the host hotel. Because if he's at the Hilton, then Brian Thompson would have been inside that hotel, never outside to be, walking around and get shot like this. I mean, I guess Brian Thompson would have had to come out sometime, so, but this to me, it wasn't like, oh my God, I just lucked out and I picked this side. Why wouldn't he think that Brian Thompson would be coming in like a black car to be dropped off at the front door with a driver, and security? So this isn't, it's great. Fine. If you say that he's the guy, it still doesn't explain his intel on knowing where Brian Thompson would be. And then you have a bunch of people you could, chop off. Why Brian Thompson? So interesting.
Trying to do the right thing. All right. Terry Monahan, thank you, former chief of department.
All right, guys. We will end the stream here. Thank you guys so much. A little bit more on the Brian Thompson case. Check out the community page for updates on pictures, documents, and then if you rewind this back to the beginning, you can see the Pennsylvania docket. There's 2 different documents that were put up. Don't think they're out there. Think you're going to have to see those at the beginning of this video. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, moderators, members, subscribers. On your way out, thumbs up the video. Much love. And then as always, if you have anything, send it my way. themindchallenge@gmail.com. So thank you much. And then all the super chatters. Miss Wilson, we appreciate you as well. Appreciate all of you guys. Thank you, Liz. Much love. Just the tip. Just the tip. What a waste of talent, man. That's all I gotta say. Ciao. Ciao.